welcome back to Real Estate According to Amy. I am Amy, and I'm glad that you're joining me for this video where we kind of dive in to lead generation methods. So in the last video, if you're watching them in order, you should have learned the difference between prospecting and marketing. It's really just a short video that dives into the fact that we should be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. And so you're like, Amy, what is prospecting? How do I do it? How do I attract people that want to buy or sell houses, right? Like that's our goal. That's our job. That's the number one thing on our calendar is that lead generation. So let's talk about that a little bit. The number one thing that you should be doing for lead generation is diving into your sphere of influence. That does not have to be your family, just for the record. If you aren't getting along with family or whatnot, totally okay. But let's dive into our sphere of influence. Open up your phone. How many contacts in there? Let's take all of those contacts, and we should have a contact relationship manager or a CRM. So if you don't have one, go get one. Most large real estate companies offer one. So you should be using that, which will allow you to systematically manage your business and systematically touch your potential customers. Okay. So your number one thing is you want to take all those people out of your phone and put them in there. And even if they don't live in the area, they are still a potential lead. And if you're asking me why, here's the reason. That as a real estate agent, if I hold a valid license in the state of California, I can refer agents to refer customers to agents in other states and areas that I don't service, and I can collect a referral fee. Oftentimes, I ask for a referral fee of 25% for a buyer lead and 30% for a seller lead that I'm going to pass off to another agent. You don't have to do a whole lot of work. You just have to verify that that agent is a solid agent that's able to do the job that you want them to do, and you think they would be a good match for your client. And then you connect them up to help them complete that transaction. In another state, you collect the referral fee. There is a referral form for that. When we dive into our forms library, we'll talk more about that referral form so that you make sure that you get paid for any transactions you refer out. But that just goes to show you that your clients, customers, they don't have to be local. They can be anywhere in the United States. Okay. So put your mind at ease there. Who else encompasses your sphere of influence? Well, let's talk about if you've got kids, maybe other parents, kids' friends. If you don't have children, where do you frequent? Where do you go? What kind of activities do you do? What kind of groups do you belong to? All of those encompass your sphere of influence, and they should be the number one target for your lead generation methods because they already know you, like you, and trust you. And so earning their trust and earning their business is going to be a little bit easier than earning a stranger's business. Okay. But now let's say that you have dug into your sphere of influence. We'll talk more about the type of touches and how as we dive into this lesson. But let's say that you have exhausted your sphere of influence. You are now looking to add to your database, which we should be adding to our database each and every day, or adding to that CRM, that contact relationship manager. And so what are some other methods that we can share on that? So I think, there we go. You should be able to see my screen. You might be able to see two screens at this point. One is our lead funnel. So this is how we're going to roll. We're going to revisit this here shortly, where you've got leads. We're going to move them into prospects, which move into clients. And then we're going to close the sale and move them into post-sale so that we can repeat that funnel over and over and over again. All right. So here are some prospecting methods or some lead generation methods. We could reach out to for sale by owners. We could reach out to expired listings. We could reach out to just sold homes, right? We can market those just sold homes. Maybe go knock doors in the areas of sold homes, whether you sold those homes or not, because statistics tell us that somebody who can see a for sale sign is going to sell their house. So your job is to connect and create relationship with those people before somebody else does. Just listed homes, right? We can do the same thing. We go door knock and prospect those areas where there's a just listed home. We can obviously touch base with our past clients. We can make sure that we secure them for future transactions, as well as ask for referrals. Our allied resources. Those would be people we do business with, right? Like business to business relationships. So if I have somebody who I'm always giving my home warranty business to, or maybe I've got somebody I'm always giving my home inspections to, maybe in return, I expect something back for them to refer me every once in a while. You might have a geographical farm area or a demographic farm area that you're reaching out to. Apartments, right? Corporations for those, I can't think of what those are called right now, but anyways, when they bring more people in, I don't know, relocation, right? So corporations for relocation, people that they're moving, oftentimes large corporations shuffle people around the country, whether they're bringing new people in or sending people other places. That's a good way to secure listings as well as buyers. Your builders, banks, right? Banks have loan programs. So go meet those loan officers and connect up with them and secure those relationships so that you're getting referrals from the banks when somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to buy a house. Third-party companies, that kind of goes back to those business-to-business referrals. Might not be so much Allied Resources as just businesses in your community. We have investors, right? Door-to-door canvassing, client parties, networking events, social functions and community events, right? Plugging into those groups, seminars, booths at events, teaching and speaking opportunity, kiosks. We could dive further into that as well as far as prospecting goes. Social media, commenting, we've got your sphere of influence. So where are you and what do you like doing? Right? That's what it dives down. That's what it like drills down to. And here on this list, there are 21 activities that may fit you as far as prospecting goes. You may just like pick up a phone book and call through those names. Make sure you scrub them against the do not call registry. But, it's all up to you. And no, I don't recommend picking up 21 lead generation methods and running with it. Okay. Please don't do that. And please hear me on that. You should have about 3 legs, what we call legs of lead generation. So we should have our sphere of influence should be everybody's number one, because that's going to be the easiest way to dive in and build clients. Okay. Another thing that you should always put in place are leads from listings. Listings are like gold in our industry because they should lead to additional transactions. If you can secure a listing, you should be able to get a couple more transactions from that listing, from your marketing and prospecting methods. You should be able to pull another listing and maybe 1 or 2 buyers as well, right? I already told you that when you have a listing, somebody who can see that for sale sign, they are going to want to sell their house, as well as you might have sign calls. You might have calls from third-party websites where people have seen your listing. So you just want to be able to capitalize on leads from listings. So those are going to be 2 legs of your lead gen methods, okay? And then you're going to select 3 additional methods. And I'm not going to say, hey, go perfect all 3 methods tomorrow. No, we're going to say, let's focus in on one and kind of dabble in 2, right? Additional ones. And when we've aced that first leg that you want to do outside of sphere of influence and leads from listings, once you've kind of perfected that, you've got systems and processes in place, that's running like a well-oiled machine, then we're going to dive deeper into method number 2. We want to make sure we're tracking our activities as well so that we can manage and track our return on our investment. So if we're spending time doing something like a geographic farm area, what are we putting into it and what's the return on our investment? Okay, we don't want to review our return on investment on a monthly basis. That's something we're going to look at probably about once a quarter, or maybe even once every 6 months. And we also want to know the track record for those type of methods so that we know, like, is 3 months really a realistic expectation to see returns, or are we looking at a longer time period? So if there's something like a geographic farm, results are going to take a little bit longer in order to see those results than they would for something like open houses, right? So open houses gets us in front of people. Now, the thing with open houses is it's kind of a marketing versus prospecting, because we're inviting people to the open house, but we don't know how many people are going to show up. You could sit there for 3 hours and have nobody show up, right? So it leaves it to chance. Now, there are methods that you can do leading up to an open house that makes it absolutely a prospecting activity. So there's some things. As a new agent, in addition to your sphere of influence and leads from listings, I do recommend probably open houses. Okay, that's a really good way to meet people, get in front of people, and you don't have to have listings to hold open houses. You can ask other agents in your office or potentially even other agents from other areas. In addition to that, like maybe a geographic farm, and the geographic farm doesn't have to be super expensive if you're going to go door knock that farm. We'll dive into that method later on. And then let's think about like maybe business to business relationships, maybe client parties, like what's something that you really truly enjoy in your regular life. Maybe you like to go out and do social functions. So you're going to join the Chamber of Commerce and you're going to enjoy some different groups, some moms groups, maybe you're going to go play volleyball with a group of women. I actually started a trail riding group in the greater Vacaville area. I started it just on social media it was actually a lead generation method of business that I enjoyed personally, right? So I was looking for other people to ride horses with. So I started this group on social media, started connecting with people in the area, actually made some really great friends. Some of them actually became real estate agents. I got some transactions out of it. So it was a great way to take something that I really enjoyed doing and translate it into a way to generate leads and generate business. So there's all sorts of things that you can do that aren't even listed on this list. So for your homework, what you should do is kind of think about what are some things that you think that you would enjoy doing. Again, I highly recommend open houses. I also recommend a geographic farm area, and then pick one other thing that you kind of enjoy or want to dabble in or you think would be fun. Okay, now I am not a people person. Okay, ask anybody who knows me. I really, truly don't like strangers and well, just people in general, but mainly strangers. And so for me, going out and doing open houses or booths at events or something, seminars where I'm going to be involved with a lot of people that I don't know, right? The keyword stranger danger makes me exhausted. Can I fake it until I make it? Absolutely. Can I get out there and do it? Absolutely. Can I go teach classes? Can I go host open houses? I absolutely can. I just know that I can't do those things on days that I have other things to do, because by the time I'm done with that activity or event, I am absolutely exhausted and I'm ready to go just shut down and be home by myself. Okay, so even if you're not a huge people person, even if you're an introvert, you can still lead gen. You just have to make sure you adapt your life to that and factor that in as part of your day, that you're going to need some downtime to kind of recoup and regenerate. Now, those of you that are extroverts, the only difference between introvert and extrovert is an introvert, right? You can be an outgoing introvert. It just means that when you're around large groups of people or around people, it sucks the energy out of you, right? Introvert versus extrovert. When you're around large groups of people, that gives you energy and makes you want to keep going. Okay, that's really the difference between the two. You can be outgoing or not outgoing on both aspects, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. So just know that you have joined a profession where you have to go talk to people. So we have to figure out how to work that into your day and give you that downtime that you need or that personal time if you are an introvert. And if you're an extrovert, you may just completely thrive off those activities. Okay, so you need to define what you want to do, define those 5 legs of lead gen. Again, you're going to have your sphere of influence, you're going to have your leads from listings, and then you're going to select 3 others, of which 2 of those I highly recommend, being a geographic farm and being your open houses. Okay, now we're going to lead generate. We want to talk to people. We want to get their information. Talking to somebody isn't necessarily generating a lead unless we know we're going to see them again. We actually want to get their contact information so that we can stay in relationship with them. So if we look over here at the other picture, we have our lead generation funnel, right? Where we're popping people into our database, our contact relationship manager. We're putting people in there as leads. Maybe they don't quite know us yet, right? And we have a thing called like captured versus connected, right? And how I like to define that when we look at our leads is they're kind of like, are they a dog or are they a zoo animal? Okay, so somebody who is captured is we've captured their information. We have their contact information. They are captured. They are in our lead gen jail or lead gen enclosure. However, if we called them, if we emailed them, if we texted them, they may not respond. They may not even know who we are, right? A zoo animal. We have them, they're trapped, they can't get away. However, if we call them by name, they may not come. That's a zoo animal versus our connected are those like a dog. When we call our dog's name, our dog should come to us, right? Same idea with that when we look at leads in our lead gen funnel is that if they are connected, that's somebody who, if they saw our text message come across, they would probably know who we were. They would probably remember our name. They may call us back. They may respond to a text message, a private message on social media, whatever that might be, right? They know us by name. If somebody said, hey, do you know who Amy is? They'd be like, oh yeah, I think I know her, right? I'm pretty sure I do. I think she's a real estate agent, right? So that would be the difference in captured and connected. So when we put people into our database, we want to make sure that we separate them based on that criteria. Are they somebody who doesn't know us, or are they somebody that do know us? Okay, that's going to change how we interact with those people in our database. Excuse me very much. So lead generation, you should be doing lead generation a couple hours a day. We usually recommend putting them in, putting our lead gen hours in the morning. Why do we do that? Because it's usually our least favorite activity of the day. And it's our easiest activity to get overwhelmed with what we think is the important stuff. Okay. So if we put it in the day, in the morning, the beginning of the day, like 9 to 11, 10 to 12, 9 to 12, whatever you think that is, then we get it done, we get it out of the way, and we can move on with the rest of our day without getting distracted. Okay. Now, you may be like, but Amy, I've got deals falling apart and I've got things happening and people calling me. Don't answer their phone calls. Don't worry about those deals. That same deal that's falling apart at 9 o'clock is still going to be falling apart at noon. You can fix it at noon. You don't have to fix it at 9. Okay. So set the standard. It would be like an appointment, right? If we were in an appointment with a client, we're not going to be picking up our phone, taking phone calls. We're not going to be responding to emails while we're out showing properties. So guard your lead generation time like that. Okay. It is an appointment. You are with somebody else. And our lead generation time should not be our follow-up time. Okay. The leads that we called yesterday that we said, hey, let's touch base tomorrow, or hey, yeah, I'd like to sit down with you. Don't take up your lead generation time with those type of activities. This is strictly for reaching out to try to convert more people into clients. Okay. We want to be adding new people to our lead gen funnel at all times. The general rule of thumb is that you want to have 10 conversations about real estate on a daily basis, and we want to add 10 people to our database on a daily basis. So you're actually going to have 20 conversations because those 10 are not the same people. We want to be having those conversations about real estate, diving into our contact relationship manager, our CRM system, calling those people, talking with those people, reminding them that they're in real estate. And we want to be feeding that funnel all the time and growing our numbers. Okay. Our general rule of thumb is those that we are systematically reaching out to at least 36 times a year. It's a 12-to-1 return. So for every 12 people in that database that we're systematically connecting with, we are going to get one transaction. Okay. So think about how many people you have in your database and that know your name, and how many transactions that you want. And then let's figure out how to make that happen. Okay. And again, I keep saying systematically touching our clients. So we're going to dive further into that in the next session, as far as how we connect with our clients on a regular basis, what that system should look like, and how to do it in a process that makes it repeatable and scalable as you grow your business. But for today, we're going to just end on this lead generation. Select your lead gen legs. Think about what you want to do. I'll dive into on future videos the geographic farm. I will dive further into open houses. I will dive further into business to business relationships. We may even talk about like client parties. And we will talk about how to systematically connect with those people that you're adding to your CRM or your database. Okay. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below. You can reach out to me directly as well. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I hope this was helpful in getting your head wrapped around lead gen. I know when I first started in this business, actually it wasn't when I first started, it was kind of about like 2/3 of the way through when I was in my most productive. I'd actually never heard of lead gen. So when I first heard of lead gen, I saw all these 21 different methods. There was probably more. And I looked at them and go, oh my gosh, I got to do it all. I've got to do this and that and touch that one and figure out that one. And I was so overwhelmed with everything. I just shut down and I ended up not doing any lead generation at all. Please don't do that. Please hear my heart on this, and that your sphere of influence is going to be your number one method. Leads from listings, that just happens as part of the listing process, which we'll dive into when we talk about listings. And then choose those 3 others. But again, we're really going to focus in on one method that we're going to become an expert in and make that our method. And that's what we're going to put most of our focus into. And then a couple others as backup that we'll kind of dabble in. And as we become that expert in that first method, or if you decide that first method is not what you want to be doing, then you have something that's already kind of rolling along under there that you can just kind of pick up and run with. Okay. So don't select 20 methods, 5 leads from listings, sphere of influence, and then select 3 others that you really want to focus in on. I hope this was helpful. I will look forward to connecting with you all soon. And as we dive deeper into a couple different lead generation methods, as well as talk about how to systematically touch the people in your database. Have a fabulous day, and we will talk with you soon.